Well, hey there, Dudley High School. It is great to be making one of these videos again
Yes,
because
long time no see.
I know that means we're getting done with Testober and we can kind of like get into our coaching work and
That's
our
right.
development work, which is, I don't know about you, but that's the work that I love to
Hey,
do.
the hard work.
Right? Like that's why I'm in this position, right? Is to do that work and not really be living in testing. But anyways, everyone, we are here at the cusp of a new quarter. We are kicking off quarter two, and what we wanted to talk about this week with our video was maybe some approaches to quarter two, some ideas for what we can do in quarter two. And I don't know about you, Miss Wilkerson, but for me, I was always using this time in my classroom to really reflect on the first quarter, think about things that I liked, things that I didn't like, and really making that plan for what I could do to move forward.
Absolutely. So, again, the same way we want our children and our students in the classroom to be reflective, we as educators must also be reflective. That is a part of our standards.
It is. It really, really is. And, you can reflect in a lot of ways. You can write it down. You can do it verbally. You can, like reflecting on your lessons, right? Going through your Canvas page and kind of looking through all of that can be really good. But I think it's really important, like when we reflect, we want to make sure that we are making actions that are within our sphere of control, right? I know that, oftentimes a lot of us feel frustrated when students are absent, but unfortunately, we can't go to their houses and bring them to school, right? As much as we maybe wish that we could, right?
We can call somebody,
We can
though.
call, we can make phone calls, we can send emails, we can, keep those parents in that communication loop. But, we really want to do focus on what is really within our sphere of control when we're thinking about the things that we want to change or do differently as we move forward, right?
So, we want to just kind of jump in, thinking about these things. What are things that are going well for you this
Mm-hmm.
semester? What are some spots that things could be better? So, when you start thinking about, did the students really get what I wanted them to learn this past quarter? And if not, how am I going to jump on board and get them rocking and rolling for this next quarter? We also want to remember, where do you want to focus? Where do you want to focus yourself? And then again, what changes do you need to make?
Exactly. And then the other idea with that as well is really to make sure that we're thinking about putting the students in the center of all of the actions that we're making and making sure that they see that they're really into it. And that's where we have this idea of that reset, right?
Right. This is the reset. So now we have a new time to start fresh. We can get in there. We can say, "All right, guys, we can do this. Here we go." And especially in this season where we have holidays, we're
Mm-hmm.
in, then we're out. And so it's going to feel like we do several resets, which is okay
Yeah,
because you can reset every day if you need
you
to.
really can.
Right? And so we want to make sure that we're doing that. And again, I love the idea of making sure the students are kept in the loop because then they have buy-in. If they are a part of the decision-making process in the classroom with the expectations, because then if they set themselves at a certain level of expectation, you can say, "Hey guys, remember when you said you wanted to be at school every day, or you wanted to be on time, and you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to turn in your work often or every time we have it?" Keeping them in the loop with that so that you can remind them is a
Yeah.
good reset.
Yeah, exactly. And also asking the students to kind of engage in that reflection with you, because that creates that partnership in the classroom, which is so important. I can see from my perspective what I think is working and what's not working. But if I don't ask the kids for their input on that, then I'm kind of making decisions for them and not
Not
with
with them.
them.
Right.
Exactly. And kids don't like that. They don't like feeling out of control. You know what I mean? So that can be a great kind of kickoff to your second quarter, right? Asking them those same questions that you asked yourself. What's going well for you in this classroom? Where are some places that we can maybe make some changes and make some improvements? And how can you help me in that development and in that change, right? Because then it's all of us working together on that shared goal together, right?
Remember, this, as much as it is our learning home, it's their learning home. They're
Mm-hmm.
the ones coming in to do the learning, and we want to make sure their home is ready for what they need.
Exactly. And all of that reflection and all of that conversation with the students can then get you into maybe some new things that are going into the second quarter, right? I always was a big fan of starting my second quarter with a circle conversation.
Yes.
So that we could come in, we could talk, we could kind of hash it out a little bit, and then we could kind of move forward into the second quarter of our year with that new shared understanding, and also remembering some of those procedures that we needed to maybe tighten up on a little bit. You just said that, Ms. Wilkerson, right? After vacation, they forget.
Yeah.
After a long weekend, they
forget.
forget. After lunch,
They
they
forget.
And so sometimes we have to work in that little reset, right? We got to remind them what the procedure is. We got to remind them how to go to the bathroom. We got to remind them how to turn in their work sometimes, because unfortunately they don't remember. Well, they forget.
They forget. That's what it is. They forget.
Exactly. And again, remember everybody that like every day, like you just said, Ms. Wilkerson, every day can be a new beginning, right? Like we can really, if we decide to show the child and to show our students, like we believe in them, we're showing them a new start, a fresh start, they can kind of run with that too, right? And I think that's a really important part of that conversation.
Absolutely. And also, in thinking about this new start that you're going to have with your students, we had some people sign up and say they wanted to be strong start champions. And so, if you think that you want to try some of those strong start routines, we need those strong start champions to reach out to us. Let us know that you want to be a strong start champion so we can invite your colleagues to come see the great things that you're doing in your classrooms so that they can implement some of those great things too.
Exactly. And don't forget, everybody, too, that one of the new things that you might try as you lean into the second quarter is maybe working with one of us a little bit more closely, right? We have a lot more time in our schedule now as we're getting out of testing season. And so if you would like for us to come in and observe, maybe work on a little bit of individual coaching, that can be a new thing as well. And again, sometimes it's hard to start something new by yourself. So having the support of one of us in the room can be really helpful when it comes to that as well.
Absolutely.
Ms. Wilkerson, as you think about your time in the classroom, what were some of your favorite ways to start like a new quarter?
So we did a new quarter huddle, sort of. It was called our classroom huddle. And what we did was we got together, similar to what you said, but we would come up with those expectations. Again, we would look at the expectations that we already had. We would check off, yes, we did this well. No, we didn't do this well. And I would be vulnerable in that space too and say, I didn't always hold you guys accountable. So this semester or this quarter, how about you hold me accountable, right? The same way I want to hold you accountable, you guys hold me accountable. If I'm not closing the door at the sound of the bell, say, Miss Wilkerson, it's time to start, and so that's how we kind of built that relationship for that new start, that new thing in the classroom, and getting back on track, because the goal is success. And when they knew that we were partners in their success, then they could rock and roll with me.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I hear also like that feeling of like optimism and that feeling of belief, right? We don't want to really hold kids. We don't want to show them that like we remember, right? We remember what happened, but we want to show them that there's that path forward. And that can help us to really kind of have those new relationships with some of those kids that maybe had been challenging before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then every time you see them in the hallway, if they're not quite making it to your class, make sure you say, hey, I'm glad you're here, or make your way to me. It's a new quarter. You start fresh. Invite them back in. So if you have those who kind of lingered off throughout the quarter and you're seeing them in the hallways, invite them back into the space and let them know you're just waiting and excited for them to come and join you.
Exactly. Down at the bottom, everybody, we've got some great resources for you to help you kind of think through this. We've got a blog post about mid-year kind of resets. Might work well for us kind of because we're kind of in the middle of the year, right, as we transition into quarters. And then we've got 2 videos down below, everybody, thinking about how we can kind of reinvigorate some of those routines and ways that we can have that reset when we need it. So again, we've got some resources. We're in the building as resources as well. And I don't know about y'all, but I am looking forward to November.
Yes, absolutely. Can't wait.
Well, we hope you have a great day, everybody. Enjoy the learning that's going on today on Monday. We do have some makeup testing that's going on as well this week, so be on the lookout for those student rosters. And if there's anything we can do for you, just let us know.
Holla.
We'll see you around the building, Dudley. Bye.